Hello. Welcome to new gameplay today. I am your host, Wesley LeBlanc. We are joined by Kyle Hilliard today. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to see Wolong.
You should be excited. We were both just talking before we hit record about how we hadn't really been paying too much attention to this game. And I don't really know why that's happened, but I kind of regret it after playing through the game's first two chapters, roughly 2 or 3 hours of gameplay, because I came away very impressed, and I'm feeling something I haven't felt in a game like this since Sekiro. Which
Joy? Happiness?
a mix of that, lots of stress and adrenaline, and
the good kind, though. Okay.
Yeah, you know, playing these games is just getting really angry for 59 minutes, and then that 1 minute where you succeed, you're like on top of the world.
Absolutely.
Which is funny because I played the two chapters on separate nights. I played chapter 1 on one night and then chapter 2 the next day. And if you had asked me after chapter 1, after night 1, how I was doing, I would have been very frustrated. And that is because I made the mistake I make in every, Souls-like, Soulsborne game, which is trying to play it on your own terms. When the game has like a clear system it wants you to use. And once I did that, everything clicked into place. And kind of similar to Sekiro, this game it's not something you're brute forcing yourself through. You need to like really focus on deflecting at the right time, and trying to take as little damage as possible. Like if parrying is not your jam in these types of games, then Wolong is probably going to be pretty tough for you.
Okay, so on that From Software scale, which is not a straight line between Dark Souls and Elden Ring and Sekiro and Bloodborne, you would put this more in the Sekiro sort of Venn diagram circle. That's exciting.
Sure. Yeah, unlike Sekiro, it's not, at least in what I've played. I've only played, 2 hours of a probably 40, 50, 60 hour game. You're not doing so much of like the rhythmic dance in Sekiro where you like are just deflecting 10 times against Lady Butterfly, just in hopes that you hit her once.
Yeah.
But deflecting is at the heart of everything.
A good time.
Yeah, yeah. But like deflecting is what you're doing in this game to get the big hits, to defeat basically anything and everyone. And we're going to get to some combat here soon. This is just like a little opening village. The first chapter we can't show, but I can talk about. And basically, your town is ravaged by the enemies, which is this Yellow Turban group. That's the name of them, like the Yellow Turban Army.
Well, wait, just a quick step back. Are we talking fantasy magic, or is this more grounded?
So this is it's, I wouldn't call it grounded. This is based on I think it's 14th century novel, the Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Okay.
So kind of like, dragons and demons and some spooky stuff's happening. But like for the most part, the enemies I've fought so far are just like rabid dogs and people with sharp objects. I have
You're
fought
not
some
doing
bosses.
magic attacks yourself.
There actually are, and
There are, okay.
yeah, but at least for me, they're more useful against bosses because they weren't super necessary against like mob enemies. And so one thing I want to point out real quick before I forget is what you just saw there. Whenever like that red dot appears on them as they're attacking, they're about to do like a huge move, which can take you out in one hit often. And what you have to do then is hit, I was on the Xbox controller, so B, right at the right time to completely deflect and like counter their move. It's kind of like, shooting your gun in Bloodborne or parry in Dark Souls or anything like that. But it feels essential to hit here. Like it's crucial that you hit it, because you just have your health is so much lower. Like one of those from a mob enemy can kill you very easily, and it happened quite a lot, which is where my frustration stemmed from initially, is because I'm not used to like the stakes being that high in these types of games, but they are high.
Yeah, it looks like you're being sneaky too, which is exciting. That's another kind of Sekiro kind of thing.
Exactly. Weirdly enough, there's no, at least in the 2 chapters I played, you don't crouch to sneak. And I kind of hated this because sneaking is just walking slowly towards somebody, which is just pushing lightly on the analog stick, which doesn't feel as precise or stealthy as crouching and hiding in grass and that type of thing. But stealth is there. If you sneak up on somebody and get them in the back when the reticle's red, it'll be a near insta kill, if not an insta kill.
And it looks like you have an NPC helping you?
Yes, yeah. So in the 2 chapters I've played so far, an NPC has been there most of the way. This is a different NPC than the one in the first chapter. I was fighting some guys, and then he just kind of like showed up in this really cool hype cutscene, and he was like, "I'm gonna help you out. We can do this." I'm not sure if there's gonna be an NPC helping you in every chapter, but I mean, I am very cool with it. They're not really doing too much, but if they're taking one hit from you or for you, that's a big deal in these types of games.
Right.
And so we're making our way towards what is a mini boss that we'll see if it defeats me or not. But yeah, I'm kind of just trying to use a mix of stealth, and then when stealth goes wrong, I just resort to this. And you might not be able to hear it just because I've got the game audio a little low, but there's a really nice sound that plays right there when you deflect something. It's like a sword deflect. There's a gunshot sound in there and like an explosion all mixed into one. I think it's already my new favorite parry sound.
So it's just like there's no mistaking that you pulled it off, and it feels great.
Yeah, and your character does like a special little animation, and it damages them a little bit. But the big thing is, which we'll see in a boss here soon, is using those moves like breaks their posture, basically, kind of like Sekiro, and that opens them up to a huge attack. They're kind of bent over. You press triangle or Y, and then you do a ton of damage. And there was one boss that I think was kind of trying to teach me that, because that was really the only way to defeat it. Doing like little small piddly attacks did nothing.
You have to get that counter in, yeah.
And that was early on enough that I think that was just Team Ninja's way of being like, you really need to learn how to do this counter, or this game's not going to be fun for you.
Or you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah. And so you can see here, I'm kind of making my way up over these walls. And this is what I'm talking about with the stealth. How you just have to see the red dot's not there. I don't know. It's a little imprecise and kind of silly looking. Like that person didn't hear me. I was right behind them breathing on them. But,
yeah,
it still works.
Watching you play it, it seems almost more of just like it's there to give you a little bonus, right? If you don't want to just sprint into the combat arena. Yeah,
it's interesting though, and maybe things change and you level up and stuff gets better. But yeah, sorry, I'm struggling to climb. There's like mechanics tied to stealth almost, it seems. So you can see down there, there's some people standing. This guy, not the one I'm about to kill, but the one right in front of him, he's like a mini boss. So he has a higher morale level. The higher a morale level, the harder they are to kill. Like the harder they hit you, basically. But you can lower that morale by taking out enemies around them, which I guess translates in universe to like, they're fighting alone now, so they're not as potent as a enemy as they were. So you kind of
is it like a level? Is it like, can you change that? Is it interchangeable with the word level, or is it feel different?
It's different from your level. Morale is like, I have morale there. You can see that I'm 6. See how this dude hits so hard. And my morale goes down when I take damage. The higher my morale is, the more damage I do. Okay. But it's changing in real time, and so are enemies. So it's not like a specific level, and it's more like something you have to actively focus on when attacking. Like for me, I finally defeated that mini boss by taking out all the enemies around him without him noticing, which dropped his morale down to, I think, 6 from 9.
Ah, okay, that's cool.
And so you can see here, this is a boss in chapter 2. This is where things start to, get away from reality. At least for me, I've never seen a creature like this in Florida, but I don't know. Yeah.
Well, here's what I'll tell you about that creature, Wes, is just be wary. When you cut off its head, it might wake back up.
That's a different game. That's a different
game. Oh, is it?
Oh,
okay. No, this guy looks cool. I like his design, though, with the big sort of giant forearms and stuff like that. He's scary.
Yeah, he's very cool. And not to toot my own horn, but I think I only take one hit during this boss fight. And I won't say how many times it took me to get this footage, but pretty cool.
I'm going to assume one.
Yeah, first time, of course. So you see that big move he's doing with the red? I'm deflecting all of his moves, and that's raising his posture is what I'm going to call it, which is that orange bar under his health. And watch right now. See, I just broke it. Now I'm doing a huge attack for damage. And that's kind of like the rhythm you want to play into, is deflecting, 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 especially those big hits until you break that orange bar, which lets you go in for like a huge attack.
Gotcha.
I've noticed too, like the attacks you do outside of those don't do nearly as much. So I don't see a way to like, I guess you could brute force your way through this boss fight if you had enough like healing items, but you really do got to focus on those parries like that.
Yeah, it looks like it's about building up to like giant damage single attacks as opposed to a number of small ones, right?
Yes, exactly. And yeah, and so that's Wolong Fallen Dynasty. It's a game I'm really excited to check out. It comes out on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC on March 3rd. Yeah, and if you want even more of my thoughts on the game, you can read my written preview on GameInformer.com right now. Kyle, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks. Game looks cool. I'm excited for it.
Bye, everyone.